Hi guys, and welcome to another set review. Now, I did say earlier in the year that 2019 would be the year that I would do a few more set reviews for the channel, because, well, I say review, it's more of a passionate rant about a LEGO set that I've seen that I really like. Now, I know I said I was going to focus on the Avengers Endgame set. I did a couple of videos for I did one for the Captain America bike and one for the Hulkbuster. The War Machine Hulkbuster. But seeing as Endgame has passed, I will come back to them and focus more on the Spider-Man sets that are coming out, because Spider-Man Far From Home comes out in just under a month now. So from what we've seen of the three sets, they are very much tied in with what we've seen in the trailer already, so it's not going to be like Endgame where the sets had nothing to do with the film other than obviously the little white suits. But we've got three sets, and I've got all three of them. I've got the Molten Man, we've got the Hydro Man Attack, and the Stark Jet set as well. So there's three sets, and all three of those things, all three of the themes have shown up in the trailers already, which is awesome. But I'm going to start with, mainly because it's the cheapest. It's $24.99 in the UK. I think it's $29.99 in the US. So it's a reasonably priced set. But before we get onto it, I'm going to do a quick speed build, so you'll see how it's built, and then we'll come back and chat about it. As you would have seen in the speed build, it's quite a complex build. Well, not so much complex, but quite fiddly. I'll go into a bit more detail of that later on, but let's focus on the Minifigs first. So put him back there. So we get a new Spider-Man variant, which we'll look at in a minute, Mysterio, and Nameless Fireman. So yeah, I mean, at least two of these are worth having anyway. Fireman's a nice bonus, but let's jump straight into the minifigures. So we've got a new Spider-Man variant. Now there's a different Spider-Man in every single one of the three sets. One of them has one that looks very, very similar, if not the same, to the Civil War set. And one of them is basically Peter Parker with the mask on, but that's for another day. Let's focus on this one. So this is Stealth Spider-Man. Now you might not be able to see that very well, so I'll bring up the pictures and you can see it in a bit more detail. It's awesome. Look, I mean, just looking at it, it's awesome, because, I mean, you wouldn't know it was Spider-Man if it wasn't for the headpiece. So, I mean, you look at the body and you could easily take the head off of this, put, I don't know, Nick Fury's head on it. You've got yourself a Stealth Nick Fury. What is interesting though is the actual headpiece. So if you look at the headpiece, you can see that it's basically, as we've seen in the trailer, it's all black, silver striped, but you can see the goggles that show up in the trailer as well, and the strap goes right round to the back. The best part about it is the fact that you know it's Spider-Man by the eye shape. Everything else, you wouldn't know it was Spider-Man, but the fact that, you look at the eye shape and you go, yep, that's Spider-Man straight away, so that's very, very cool. If we have a look at the kind of printing on the torso itself, and it's, they could have gone really easy, because in the trailer, it looks like it's just an all-black suit, a very stealthy kind of military suit, that's about it. But if you have a look at the detail on this minifigure, it's impressive. I mean, we've got full-on armour, we've got the belt, we've got pockets, very much everything you expect of military. But they could have gone really easy and they didn't. And it's impressive. I'm really loving this minifigure, and the detail on it is incredible, even on the legs. And you can see it's even got what look like steel toe cap boots. Obviously, it's Spider-Man, so he probably won't have steel toe cap boots. But you know, there's a lot of detail there. Similarly on the back, even on the back, you can still see the armor plating and the pockets. I mean, there's a lot of detail on here. The one and only disappointment from my perspective is in the, I think it's the newest trailer that came out. You actually get to see the back of the suit in the film, and it's got a Spider-Man logo on it. They've not put that on here, but like I say, other than the head, you can't tell that's Spider-Man, but that's a good thing because it means you've got a reusable body and it's quite unique. But you've got yourself an awesome kind of shield stealth Spider-Man, which is brilliant. I love this. I love all the Spider-Man variants, so it's nice to have something completely different. And like I say, you wouldn't know it was Spider-Man. Moving on to kind of the one I've really been looking forward to, though this minifigure is in all three of the sets, so he's not unique in any way, shape or form, is Mysterio, the fishbowl guy. I'm a bit disappointed out of the three sets there isn't one where it's just head and hair like you see him in the trailer, and they've gone for the fishbowl in all of them. But it does still look good. I mean, if we go to the pictures, you can see anyone that's familiar with the comic books, it looks very much like what you would expect, but because this is a comic book to MCU upgrade, we've got a lot more in terms of the armor on the torso, much darker colors. I mean, the comic books tend to have, so the comic book for him has a much lighter green, much lighter purple, and you see on here he's got gold hands. They're much more yellow in the comics. So yeah, they've kind of added a level of realism to it and made the actual armor on here looks absolutely epic. I mean, they do it with all of the movie minifigures. So let's look at the Justice League, for example. You look at the Justice League minifigures versus the comic book ones, and the Flash is the perfect example, because the Flash suit in the film is very much armor plating, and they've tried to put that onto the figure, and it does make a big difference in terms of detail. Similarly here, if we go back to the pictures, you can see, I mean, look at the armor running down the side. I mean, to look at it, it looks similar to kind of Civil War era Iron Man, but in different colours. Whether that is kind of a hint, because there is a fan theory that obviously now they've introduced the multiverse in the trailer, there is a theory that this guy's going to be not a bad guy, he's going to be a good guy, he's going to be like the equivalent to Iron Man on his world. So I don't think they thought that far ahead in terms of the detail, to be honest, but you never know, especially with Marvel. And Lego had a really kind of strong relationship with Marvel for years now, so you really don't know. The one disappointing thing, and it's the same with any kind of caped character or any character that's got like a massive bit on the back, is the back of the minifigure itself. Because if you ever look at the picture, you can see that there's just as much detail on there. You got the purple and the gold, and you can just kind of make out the armor plating, kind of when it's muscle lines along the armor plating. Going back to the front though, my favourite part of this is definitely the kind of neckline. I mean, you can see, if you've seen the trailer, you've seen that it's got these really big kind of gold bolts here, and that's shown on the minifigure itself, so the chest bit does look very, very cool. Moving on to kind of the head, and it's because it's the fishbowl guy, he's got his helmet on, you get a fishbowl essentially to go on his head, and it is completely silver all the way around. There's no detail on the head whatsoever. The one bonus is though that as with a lot of the main sets in terms of capes, it's fabric, it's not paper, which is always a bonus. Moving on to the Firefighter. I mean, there he is. It was an afterthought. You really don't need the Firefighter in this set, to be honest. It's not needed. You've got the two main characters from the movie. The Firefighter's just kind of an afterthought. I don't know whether it's just to get the pieces up a bit or what, but it just doesn't feel like it's needed. If you go to the pictures though, you can see that this isn't like a Lego City Firefighter. he looks very different, and it's nice to have kind of a natural coloured minifigure for like a policeman, fireman, and stuff like that. Especially if you've seen any of the Instagram page that I do, it's nice to have characters like that to kind of interact with the the superheroes that got the natural skin colour. The detail on here is a bit disappointing though. It's very kind of mediocre when you compare it to the other two minifigures. The detail is really, it's a bit meh. Still, it works. I mean, you've got the fluorescent kind of high-vis jacket and the stripes on the legs, but other than that, there isn't that much to get excited about. Apart from, you can see he does come with a fire extinguisher. It's probably the most interesting part of it because the build for it is really bizarre. It uses a pistol mixed with a clip, which then clips into just a red pipe, essentially. It's really weird because usually, I mean, you've probably seen the fire extinguishers you get on most sets. It's just a tiny little red piece, one studded with the like tab bit that goes on top. Sorry, I don't really know how to explain those pieces, but I'm sure you know what I mean. But yeah, so that's the minifigure collection. Firefighters, it's an extra. But the main thing is you're getting a unique variant of Spider-Man and you're getting Mysterio. Now Mysterio does appear in all three sets, but if you've got a really tight budget, you can still get this set and you still get a Mysterio minifigure, which is awesome. Anyway, moving on to the star of the show, and it's this guy. So we've got Molten Man. Let's bring him up close again so you can see him. It's epic. I mean, in terms of the build itself, it's very much like building a Hulkbuster. Or a mech, anything that's kind of like this type of build. But once you've kind of got the basic build out of the way, it's all these little integral parts that get added to it. There's a few stickers on there. That's where it gets a bit more fiddly and a bit more, your younger Lego fans are probably going to struggle building this thing, in all honesty. But let's go to the pictures and you'll be able to see it in a bit more detail. What is interesting here, and one of my favourite parts of this, is the lava pieces. So the big triangular lava pieces which make up the bulk of the body. There's two types. There's ones that are just completely orange, but then there's others that have painted gold on them as well. I've not seen anything like this before. It may exist, but probably not. It's awesome. I mean, if I was ever going to kind of take this thing apart and use the pieces elsewhere, you can make a very cool volcano out of some of these pieces. But yeah, so let's go right into the pictures to see the detail, and you can see the biggest disappointment for me is actually the head. It's just one piece that clips on. It's a printed piece that clips on. Now, considering how much detail they've gone into the rest of the body and adding all these little bits of detail everywhere, like you've got the signposts, you've got the lamppost, you've got a bit of a car hanging off his torso, and even the detail on the arms and the body, it just seems a little bit disappointing that they've just gone with a one-piece head. But if you look, you see looking at the pictures, how many you've got these little kind of orange antenna pieces which kind of hang down, supposed to be like the lava dripping off of him. I'm sure you've seen the character in the trailer. It looks awesome. But all these clippy pieces you've got around the edges, you've got a lamp, you've got a couple of road signs, all stickers by the way. These with a bit of rough play. So if you're building this with a younger child and you give them this to play with, they come off pretty easily, which can be quite annoying because it can be after a bit of rough play. You got to rebuild it. That's pretty much standard Lego anyway, but it's quite frustrating. There are quite a few delicate pieces on this beast, so it's quite a little bit disappointing from that perspective. Similarly, where he has got all this armor, so he's got the rotating gun on one of the arms on here. All of this on here makes it quite top heavy, so in terms of posing it, in terms of getting to stand flat, the legs feel a little bit flimsy because it is very top heavy. I mean, there's a lot of bulk in this main bit, and it's a little bit disappointing from that perspective. Still, to look at it, it's epic. It looks brilliant, especially for the price range, and for that reason, you know, I highly recommend it. Like I say, you just got to be careful of the things in terms of the playtime aspect to it. Yes, it's got the gun. You can rotate that, it will shoot out. It's got these pillars on the back, so you can actually put minifigures on there. There's one on, so go to the picture, it's probably easier so you can see it. You've got a couple on the back, so you can put the minifigures on there, so it looks like they're attacking it. But yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic model. It's just a bit flimsy in places, so it looks epic, and it's great fun to build. Well, I found it great fun to build because I like the intricacies, I like the fiddly bits. But if, you know, like I say, if you're building it with a youngster, there might be a few issues. Overall, though, it's a great set for the price, for $24.99. So that's pounds in the UK, $29.99, I believe. You can't really go wrong because you're getting two of the main cast in terms of the minifigures. One of them is a unique variant of Spider-Man, which we've already seen in the movie trailer. We know it's an important part of it. In terms of where that fits into the MCU, I'm guessing it's built for him by Nick Fury, because it's very different from the Stark suits that we've seen. And obviously you get this guy. Say in terms of play, great. In terms of display, he looks awesome. So it's kind of a win-win for every generation of kind of Lego fan. But yeah, that's it. So that's the Molten Man set. Yeah, I definitely think it's worth, for $24.99, it is worth the money. If not for the minifigures, then you get this beast. I mean, in terms of size, that's just to give you some idea of how big Molten Man is. The minifigures kind of just sit there. But yeah, so there you go, there's the first set. I am of course going to review these ones, and I promise you I will actually do it this time. It's just finding the time to do it. But yeah, so if you've got this set, let me know in the comments, let me know what you think. If you're thinking of buying this, let me know if this has kind of helped you consider. And please let me know if you like this video, give me a thumbs up if you have, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel, because there will be more stuff, and obviously we've got games going on. I just finished Lego Movie 2 video game. I'm now moving on to Lego Avengers in terms of a Let's Play. I haven't played it for quite some time, and you know, after Endgame, I need a bit of Marvel fix before Spidey comes out. Anyway, for now though, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As I said, please do subscribe if you haven't already, and thumbs up, and let me know what you think in the comment section. For now though, bye bye.